Larry suggests that Elvis has left the building, but George Michael is still in the outhouse. Larry, obviously on a roll, suggests that the newest hot vacation spot for seniors is Viagra Falls. Larry also wants to know if the phrase, quote, put a cork in it, unquote, refers to an ancient form of birth control. I don't know, Larry, but sounds to me like it could possibly be associated with felching. Larry seems to get more quickies than a rabbit in heat. We also heard from Jeff Kane of Brooklyn, New York, who appears to be another student of the Allen P. Masiga School of Penmanship, Milton Wilton of the Possum Lodge in Huntley, Illinois. Great birds you got there, Milt. Ace QSL whore Lee Sylvie, and Gary Neal from Sugar Land, Texas, who caught program number 13 while lurking about at Culpsville. Frank G. of Hamden, Connecticut. We're still waiting to get a legible name and address from you so we can send you a QSL card. Once again, we did not hear from George Zeller, Alice Brannigan, or Ian McFarland.
This is Radio Azteca. Our hands are always looking for hot tips.
Formerly copper wire stained left hand, tonight's top 10 list from the home office in Slip Up, Kentucky. A child of 4 can plainly see that this list is in a hermetically sealed envelope. This envelope has been stored in a number 2 hotel-sized mayonnaise jar on Funkin' Wagnall's porch since noon today. No one knows the contents of this envelope, but I, in my semi-divine and gerbalistic way, will reveal the contents after having opened the envelope. Tonight's top 10 list is the top 10 most useful DXing accessories. Here we go. Number 10, the Psychic Friend's Guide to World Fan Radio. Number 9, a ball washer. Number 8, free wire. Number 7, an antenna stretcher. Number 6, tuning rail with a lambskin applicator. Number 5, Glenn's unlisted phone number. Number 4, a WEWN attenuator. Number 3, self-cleaning knobs. Number 2, an 8x10 glossy of George Zeller for inspiration. And the number 1 most useful DXing accessory, lots of free time. This is Radio Azteca, Montezuma's Revenge. This segment of our program is brought to you by the good folks at Ralph's Customizing and Breast Pump Repair Shop. Look for the large revolving neon suction cup on Route 32 across from Walmart. And now it's time for that portion of our program where we bring you those little dingleberries of useful news that you don't hear on NBC News. Actual stuff. We are not making these up, but the people that send them in might be. Bill Finn of Phillies, Pennsylvania, sent an article about Phoenix, Arizona City Councilwoman Frances Barwood, who is running for Secretary of State on the following platform. Taxes are too high, government is too intrusive, handgun laws are too strict, and aliens from outer space probably look a lot like us. Councilwoman Barwood has taken a lot of shit over this, but from the picture accompanying the article, she's got my vote.
I'm trying to buy her good looks. I'm satisfied with the preparation. Yeah, that's
The following item comes from Chuck Frankie of Hawaii, who agrees that program number 29 set a new standard in grossness. We always try to please, Chuck. Oakland, California police spent 2 hours attempting to subdue a gunman who barricaded himself inside his home. After firing 10 tear gas canisters, officers discovered that the man was standing beside them, shouting please to come out and give himself up. A man walked into a Topeka, Kansas quick shop and asked for all the money in the cash drawer. Apparently, the take was too small, so he tied up the store clerk and worked the counter himself for 3 hours until police showed up and grabbed him. A bank robber in Virginia Beach got a nasty surprise when a die pack designed to mark stolen money exploded in his Fruit of the Looms. The robber apparently stuffed the loot down the front of his pants as he was running out the door. He was seen hopping and jumping around, said police spokesman Mike Carey, with an explosion taking place inside his pants. Police have the man's charred trousers in custody. No doubt a severe case of the red balls. When a man attempted to siphon gasoline from a motorhome parked on a Seattle street, he got much more than he bargained for. Police arrived at the scene to find an ill man curled up next to the motorhome near spilled sewage. A police spokesman said that the man admitted to trying to steal gasoline and plugged his hose into the motorhome's sewage tank by mistake. The owner of the vehicle declined to press charges, saying it was the best laugh he'd ever had.
Holy shit, that is funny.
A would-be bank robber walked into a downtown Bank of America branch and wrote a note. This is a stick-up. Put all your money in this bag. While standing in line, waiting to give the note to the teller, he began to worry that someone might have seen him write the note and call the police before he reached the teller's window. So he left the Bank of America and crossed the street to the Wells Fargo Bank. After waiting a few minutes in line there, he handed his note to the Wells Fargo teller. She read it, and, surmising from his spelling errors that he wasn't the brightest light in the harbor, told him that she could not accept his stick-up note because it was written on a Bank of America deposit slip, and that he would either have to fill out a Wells Fargo deposit slip or go back to the Bank of America. Looking somewhat defeated, the man said, okay, and left. The Wells Fargo teller then called the police, who arrested the man a few minutes later as he was waiting in line back at the Bank of America. Thanks for those great goodies there, Chuck. Tacoma, Washington. In order to find out why their numbers are declining around Commencement Bay, Fish and Wildlife Services scientists plan to kill about 40 stocky black sea ducks called surf scooters. From USA Today comes this sad tale of woe. Tucson, Arizona tattoo parlor owner Earl Kenneth Kaufman is not happy with his name, so he's petitioned the Arizona Superior Court to change it to, quote, the Scary Guy, unquote. Good luck there, Scary.
Take the time to be frightened. Truly, deeply frightened.
Heard from a conspiracy preacher on 7435. If you take the year 1998 and divide by 3 for the Trinity, you get 666. Oh my God, Jesus is coming, everyone look busy. A caller to National Public Radio program said that the Indonesian monetary crisis was caused by, quote, bad karma, unquote. Ace Actual Stuff reporter Larry Anonymous has sent us another batch of gross but tasteful material for Self-Flushing Report. Even fish can get payback. A school of herring caught in a Norwegian trawler net refused to give up without a fight. When the trawler started hauling in the huge catch, the entire school headed for the bottom of the sea and capsized the 63-foot-long boat.
What the hell is this? It's a second message. I'm using it for assistance with the princess.
Larry has also dug up that Sister Peggy Butts is the first nun to be named to the Canadian Senate. Not since Earl Butts was U.S. Secretary of Agriculture have we had a person with more than 2 butts in the government.
And now for something completely different. A man with 3 buttocks.
If wearing a habit in session doesn't get attention, then she could always do this.
Flex your buttocks alternately and wave your hips from side to side.
Larry says an item in his local paper's police report said that an officer was dispatched to an address to check out a man watering his flowers with, quote, using his personal equipment, unquote. Another item in Larry's paper, a lot of weird shit goes on there around there, Larry. Cecilia Walcott's first tan of the year was almost the last of her life. She was trapped inside her home tanning bed after a switch malfunction, preventing her from raising the lid. Luckily, she had a cordless phone to call for help. Without it, Walcott, 60, would have absorbed a dangerous amount of ultraviolet light. There was smoke all over. I couldn't tell where it was coming from, Sergeant Dave Boone said. The bed was lit up and getting pretty warm, said Walcott. This must be some fine-looking 60-year-old babe, but what the hell was she doing in there with a cordless phone?
Ever have a question or comment but don't know who to call?
Yeah, but not in a tanning booth. A New Jersey couple is manufacturing stuffed critters they claim do not compete with Beanie Babies. Some of the new huggables include Hurley the Pukin Toucan, Splat the Roadkill Cat, a two-headed Dow mutation dog, Boris the Green Mucosaurus, and Peter the Peagle, which, quote, who is in a big hurry to urinate, unquote. They wrote poems for each critter, and here's the one for Boris the Mucosaurus. Boris the Mucosaurus has a leaky snout. Wherever he goes, his boogies drip out. His snot hangs from his nose, which he never blows. When he sneezes, you'd better look out. You have been listening to the Flushing Report.
Is none other than Radio Azteca, your source for everything that's gross but tasteful.
This segment of our program is brought to you by the good folks at Ralph's Honey Dipping Massage Oil Bar. Look for the large revolving neon vacuum pump on Route 32 across from Walmart. And now it's Radio Azteca story time. Once upon a time, there was a little yellow toad crying in the forest. The good witch came along and asked the little yellow toad, "Why are you crying, my friend?" The little yellow toad said, "All my friends are green, and I'm yellow. I want to be green like all my friends." Sniff, sniff. The good witch replied, "No problem." And she tapped the little yellow toad with her magic wand, and the little yellow toad turned green. All except his private parts, which remained yellow. "Oh, no!" exclaimed the little toad. "I can't go through life all green except for my private parts. You have to make me green all over." The good witch said, "Sorry, I don't do private parts. You will have to go see the wizard." So off the little toad went to see the wizard. The good witch continued into the forest, where she came upon a little brown squirrel crying very hard. "Why are you crying, little brown squirrel?" the good witch asked. "Because," said the little brown squirrel, "all my friends are red, and I want to be red too." Sniff, sniff. "No problem," said the good witch. And she tapped the little brown squirrel and turned him red. All except his private parts, which remained brown. "Oh, no!" exclaimed the little squirrel. "I can't go through life all red except for my private parts. You have to make me red all over." But the good witch said, "Sorry, I don't do private parts. You will have to go see the wizard." But the little squirrel started crying harder and said, "But I'm new around here, and I don't know the wizard. How will I find him?" And the good witch said, "Oh, that's easy. Just follow the yellow prick toad." Radio Azteca. More fun than an autopsy. Chicken considered an invertebrate? If you bet your sweet dippy and lose, what do you have to give up? What's the derivation of the word cockpit? What's the speed of dark? If knees were backwards, what would chairs look like? How much deeper would the ocean be if sponges didn't live there? Whatever happened to column editors who actually edit? Dr. Radio, who knows a lot about radio and bodily functions, may not have the answers to these ponderous questions, but he certainly has no compunction whatsoever about taking a shot at it. Neil Wolfish of Toronto, Ontario, wants to know if you can get cable in the Channel Islands. It's a very silly question, Neil, but we invite anyone who might be able to shed any light on the subject to write or feel free to contact Neil directly. Bill Harms of Elk Ridge, Maryland, says that one of his DX friends told him that listening to pirate radio is a waste of time, and he asked, what should I tell him?
I'm glad you asked.
This is an easy one, Bill. Tell your friend to listen to WEWN, KJES, and almost any ham band frequency between about 3850 and 3950 on any Saturday night, and then to any pirate program, and see if he still feels the same way. Tony Pennick wants to know what we think of the Drake SW8. Since we found out a few years ago that SWL stands for Slimy Wet Lesbians, we have to assume that the SW8 means the Slimy Wet 8. So I'd stay away from it unless you suffer from dry scalp or jock itch. If you have any questions for Dr. Radio, put them in the back of a really gross picture and send them to your favorite Cumbre editor. Radio Azteca, the station that lifts and separates. When you thought we might run out of gerbil material, you folks have come through once again with enough stuff for another installment of the Felching Report. We need a good theme song for the Felching Report. Got any suggestions? Tony Bennick, who's getting an awful lot of airtime here, offers the following. Euphemisms for farting. On Long Island, we bubble, poot, and cut the cheese. On Fire Island, they, quote, burp the gerbil, unquote. Tony's recipe for gay time popcorn. Insert felching tube, insert 1 ear of dried corn, butter and insert 1 gerbil, look in the tube for gerbil and light match. Popcorn!
Well, that's terrible. That's disgusting.
And Tony's piece of resistance is the following poem. 3 blind gerbils, 3 blind gerbils, see how they smell, funky as hell. All have been where the sun don't shine, all spent time in a faggot's hind. He lit a match so he could see, gas exploded and make them flee. All got out but they couldn't see, 3 blind gerbils. Tony, you got to stop hanging out at the landfill. Paul Dembski says that he heard a temporary at his place of employment talking about her pet gerbil Nibbles. Paul says that he stifled himself from asking if she felched Nibbles, but points out that if the said activity is occurring, that the gerbil is getting the worst part of the deal, as she was not the best-looking pup in the litter. Paul phrased that a different way, but we decided to protect him from lawsuits. Just think of the Felching Report material that might have generated. Headline, local man gets jail time for disgusting remarks about coworker. Our apologies to Andy Yoder, who found some material on the original felching story. The Radio Azteca filing team seems to have temporarily lost it, but you can be sure that as soon as it felches to the surface, we'll bring it to you here.
Oh, it will be exciting.
This is Radio Azteca. We're pretty disgusted about this ourselves. Hey, you think this is easy? Just listen. Mark this moment as it is possibly the first time ever that the terms HBJB and fellatio have been used together in the same sentence. Gerald Gentry of Virginia Beach, Virginia, unlike the previous item about pussy pilfering, tonight's top 10 list is the top 10 all-time joke punchline. The top 10 joke punchline. This portion of our program is brought to you by the good folks at Ralph's Delicatessen and Proctology Boutique. Holy harmonic shit. This is your announcer to update you on some of the events at Copesville that they don't tell you about, like the progressive sunrise panty and jockstrap braid. Sunrise panty and jockstrap braid. And was heard to exclaim, since that initial report, you folks have uncovered much more about this area of animal and self-abuse. Yes, Bill, but she was only taking Slick's advice for stress relief. Charles Crawford of Henderson, Kentucky, sent in an article about the latest happenings at the Aztec corn mill near him. The article discusses various foul emissions from Aztec. Charles suggests that we clean up our act. Charles suggested, We really liked how John Sedlacek of Omaha. Tonight's top 10 list is the top 10 signs that your radio club has gotten out of 10. Out of 10? Out of hand. Jeez. The top Middle Ages effectively suspending church membership and rights. The article, she often criticizes church officials and institutions by name on the air, accusing them of being too liberal or unorthodox. If you'd like an official Radio Azteca scope, send your... What the hell is that? Rising QSL whore Tony Benbenick of East Hampton, New York, sends us lots of great stories. When a man attempted to siphon gasoline from... When a man attempted to siphon gasoline from a motorhome parked on a Seattle street, he got much more than he bargained for. Look for the large revolving neon vacuum pump on Route 32, across from Walmart. We invite anyone who might be able to shed any light on that for it to write, and feel free to contact me directly. Jesus. This is Radio Azteca. The program's just about over. Where the hell you been? the old Azteca toilet is as full again as Mr. Creosote, so we must cease and desist this silliness so we can flush it away, get fired up downwind, and make room for some more of your great stuff.
So what is that yellow stuff?
If you would like something to remember this silly shit by, send a detailed reception report along with a stamp or two from the dock operator, 3 wise-ass comments we can use on the air, and a small jar of your favorite condiment to BVS Communications, Post Office Box 1, Belfast, New York, 14711. Tonight's closing wisdom is, do not use a handgun as a nutcracker. This has been Radio Azteca program number 30.
Good night, folks.
Good evening, friends of the Azteca.
So long, till the next time.
It's late, Pete, so good night. Good night. That's it for now. We'll be back soon. Good night, folks. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being with us today. Where's my gun? There it is. Well, it's a hell of a way to sign off, but goodbye, Prologue.
Good night, Tom. That goes for me, too. Goodbye, everyone.
If you would like to receive a AARS Radio Azteca Marathon number 10 EQSL, simply send a simple reception report, time, date, and frequency with a couple of brief details of what you heard during the program. That's all it takes. And just send that email to All Azteca Relay Service at gmail.com. It's as simple as that. All Azteca Relay Service at gmail.com. And in a few days, if everything goes well, you'll be receiving your AARS Marathon Show number 10 EQSL in your mailbox. Thanks for listening.